Do you drive your kids to kindergarten? So do I. Every day. Our feature film, The Father, is a true story based on the novel written by Dusan Budzak, and it will be directed by Tereza Nvoltová. When I heard about the case of father who forgot his child on backseat of his car on hot day and caused her death, I thought, what kind of person can do that? Josef's story gave me a terrifying answer. It can be anyone. It can be me.
Joseph was my best friend since college, for over 30 years. After the tragedy, I was the only outside person the family allowed. I talked to Joseph every day. He was broken, ashamed. And during this, I still couldn't understand how he could do it. He was probably the best father I ever knew. And I kept questioning myself, could I also hurt my own daughter, who I love so much? Only later I discovered that Joseph had suffered so-called forgotten baby syndrome, and I've learned that that not only it could happen to me, but it could happen to any of us. This is why I decided to write the book My Life with Joe, and became a member of the team that will film my best friend's story.
When I first heard this story from Dusan, I thought such a tragedy can't be possibly filmed without being too much of a misery for the audience. But as the days went on, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't understand how and why it could happen. I went through that day over and over, and then I got it. The movie should be exactly that. It should lead you towards the understanding and compassion, because I think society just lacks empathy. But such a movie requires a very different narrative structure, the structure that doesn't give you too much or overwhelm you with too much of a negative emotion, but doesn't also leave the audience cold. That's why The Father is a subjective movie, and it will be filmed in 3 continuous shots. It consists of 2 acts, an episode, starting with the day of the tragedy. In the morning, Joseph goes to run the breakfast with his family, drive to work, the office, up till the moment when he finds his daughter dead in his car. Then the wife arrives, the police, the media that immediately attack him with questions, and he collapses. The second act, we go with Joseph to the trial, and that's where the twist comes in. Through the forensic psychologist testimony, we find out that it was actually dysfunction in Joseph's brain that caused this tragedy, the forgotten baby syndrome. The question is, who should be punished, if not Joseph, for this death of helpless child? And does punishment even make sense in this case? Because the father is already punished by the relentless guilt. The movie ends with an epilogue. Joseph is running like in the beginning, but it's a different Joseph. It's the father who lost his daughter. It's the person who will never forgive himself. It's someone who could be me or you. Joseph falls and dies, because that's what happened.
Last but not least, I'd like to mention something about financing. We have support from Slovak Audiovisual Fund, Slovak Private Broadcaster, and Slovak Distributor is attached. As we are at an early stage of development, prospective co-producers could be offered post-production participation as well as professional and creative credits.